Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and before we get into the main video, if you've been following my channel at all, in my last video I ran into out at my son's place. I was flying and ran into a aircraft authorization zone, and was kind of perplexed because it hadn't been there before. And then I got lots of comments about how about using before you fly and Kitty Hawk, and none of those showed anything about that. But one fella, his channel name is ZBIP57. I'm sorry, I had to read it because I couldn't remember. ZBIP57. Really nice guy, gave me some help, because if you go to the DJI FlySafe Geomap, they will have it there, because if it's in their drone, they're going to have it. So I did that, and when I went to that, then I was able to get this picture right here of where where I fly, and the big blue circle there. I clicked on that, and of course it says it's an authorization zone, and it's a temporary flight restriction. And it started on the 2nd of June, and it's going to be over on the 31st of July. So that's specifically good news for me. Now let's see, let's go here. If I zoom in on that, then by the way, the fan-shaped gray area, that's the beginning of the Mesa Phoenix Gateway Airport. And so I always have to, they always tell me that I'm at the edge of that, and so I always have to click OK. But just about where those two cross, right in that area, that's my son's house. And so you can see why it's at a diagonal, and why the northeast corner of his property and the southeast corner of his property are totally different. So anyway, I thought I would put that in at the beginning of this, and then I'll be putting up more videos explaining the whole situation, most likely. But that's what happened, and I want to thank ZBIP57. Don't know his name, but he was the one who came up with the answer. And so let's get to the main video, shall we? All right, well, a couple of weeks ago, I fell in love again with my Mavic Mini because I was taking videos of my son as he built the addition to the shop. And if you haven't been following my channel, my son invited my wife and I to sell our house and come out and live on his property a little further out of town. And so then he's building a shop or an addition to his shop. So we'll have some storage area, and we'll also have some area to use my videos, make my videos and so forth. So I came out to early in the morning. This is just right about sunrise. And so I came out and wanted to just do some flying, and maybe even put a story with it. So I thought, well, the first thing I want to find out is if the Queen Creek Wash still has any water in it, because it was full last winter, and then last time I checked, it still had some water down here at the deep end. And so I thought, well, I'll check that out first. And this path that goes down here on the right, last winter when the water was actually starting to drop down, I went down in there with my little grandson and my granddaughter, and we played in the mud right down there at the end of that thing. And so that has a lot of good memories for me. Memories are important when you get to be my age. So I thought, well, as long as I'm over here, I'll drop down and get down close to the bottom and see if I can catch any critters running around and so forth. It's kind of hard with the Mini because it uses the connection that it uses, the Wi-Fi connection, is not as stable and strong as with my Mavic 2 Zoom I had, which I came down in here and I found a lot of critters running around. And so when I get down here and get below the level of the takeoff surface, then it starts to break up. But I thought, well, I'll just fly along and see if I can find something down here. And so this is, if you're not familiar with my videos, this is my favorite thing to do, is come up here, come over to the park. It's not far from my house. I can ride my bike and fly around and take a look at the critters. And here you can see I must have started to lose contact because I'm coming back out. And as I come up, though, I can see some reflection down there. So we'll head on down there and see if there is still some water, because it was full and then it just slowly started receding. This is the deep end. It's almost as deep at the other end, but this is the deep end. And as you can see, it looks like there is some water in there. The park that I took off from is my favorite. There's some ducks in the water down there. The park that I took off from is what I call my favorite flying park. I sometimes mistakenly call it my favorite airstrip. But so there's some ducks swimming around in what's left of their swimming pond, because it was much larger and we had some cranes and, of course, a lot of ducks. So as I come down here closer to the end, I am going to start to lose a little bit of connection, so I'm going to turn around and go back. Now, what I didn't realize was that we had another breeze blowing from the east this morning. And so as I turn around, I am going to run into that, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. And so there's the big pond down there. So keep an eye open here, because as I start headed back, I'm going to get a warning. And there it is. The propeller is rotating too fast. Wind resistance is causing the effect. And then I'm going to go ahead and tap on the propeller thing. And it tells you, check the propellers, go back to land promptly, and if they're warped or anything, hover for a while. And so, you know, I thought, well, I'm going to head back, that's for sure, because I don't want to lose my drone. But one of the things that I have not been paying close attention to when I was making all those videos out at my son's house was that I would just throw it in the carrying case and not pay a real close attention to how the props were laying. I try to do like you're supposed to and get it underneath, get it tucked in nice and everything. But I just wasn't paying close enough attention, I guess, because apparently the props got warped. Now, down here where it's so hot, and if I leave things sitting in the car, that plastic heats up, and then it takes the shape of whatever it's pressed against. So I think from now on I'm going to be a little more careful, and then I'm going to show you what I have done since then to make sure that I have take better care of my props. So let's take a look at that video. Okay, this is old Mr. Kent again, and the only solution that I can come up with at the moment for folks that have hot weather, like here in Arizona, is just to be super careful, but also I took some Velcro. You know how I always like to use Velcro, and I don't know if you can see it there. Let me put it up a little closer. Right there is a piece of Velcro. Okay, I took a piece of Velcro, the fuzzy part of the Velcro, and put it there, and that will bring the drone up just a little bit, so that it relieves some of the pressure on these props. And of course, one of the things that I was when I first got it, I had to laugh at myself. I was thinking these were the front props. Well, as you know, they're the back props. So, and the back props are the ones that we always had to, well, that I've had to replace because they were worn out or warped or something. And that was probably most likely because I was just throwing it in the box. So a lot of times when I throw it in the box, they end up back over here. And if they end up back here, well, then they start getting pinched on this ridge. So the one thing I am going to do, and I suggest that you do, is to make sure that you have these, especially if you have something there to relieve the pressure, but have those facing forward, not sticking out in front, but just facing forward, about like that. And then very carefully, I'll get it here carefully, and it's got to be carefully, put it back in and lower it down and make sure that it comes down snugly. Now mine's going to rock because I've got the spacer there. And then these, you see this thing right here, he comes down right about there. He comes in right about there when we close the lid, okay? And so these guys need to be back, and I just like to spin them all the way around, back about there, okay? So before you pack up and go home, make sure that those are facing at least forward and not back. And it says to put them straight across, but that's kind of hard to do and be able to put it in. By the time I would get it in, they'd be flopping around. So if I can hold on to let's just do it again. If I can hold on to these guys up here on the gimbal protector, and then just very carefully lower it down in, they seem to go in, and see it rocks on that. So that means that those props are not being pressed down because they're being rocked, or because they're being lifted up. Now when we close this, then that straightens this out a little bit, and but at least we know with that piece of Velcro in there that these have a little more breathing space. So we go ahead and we put that like that. We pull this down and don't do anything else except don't move it around, just zip it up, and there you go. Now if you live in cold climate, especially if it's cold in the summertime, there's no need to really go to all this trouble. But if I leave these sitting in my car, which the temperature gets up over 200 degrees, then those plastic props are going to take on a new shape. And so anyway, I hope this is helpful. I want to thank you for watching, and God bless.